down towards the start. Again, Mark Pedersen, the start's all important here with these big fields of the BNTV8s. Johnny Mack looking for the clean sweep. Can anyone deny him that honour here at Hamilton today?
I think the person who's going to get close is going to be Kane Scott, but of course they've got to execute turn one and then turn two nice and smooth. So very slow start by Johnny. And look at them all fan out. 4-5 abreast, fantastic.
Oh,
Dale Williams coming down here on the outside in that blue car.
3 wide, down through turn number 1, and they're 2 deep.
Oh, Kane Scott's in the wall.
Scott's in the wall.
Dale Williams in there. Oh, that's a big hit. God, look at the damage.
Well, it's not going to be Kane Scott. There is an incredible amount of damage on Dale Williams' machine. I was going to say, Mark, it is not going to be Kane Scott denying Johnny Mack a clean sweep, but look at the damage to the front of that Rayglass car.
Goodness, that is a lot. Well, here's Kane Scott just escaping his thing off the wall, but okay, this is a bit further around, so this is not going to be a replay.
No, this is on board with Clark Proctor in behind Nick Ross, so the race continues, but the safety car you'd have to think is going to come out here on the first lap, and it just, you can see that unfolding, Mark. 3 wide, 2 deep going down into turn number 1. It just does not work.
Yeah, look, the yellow flags are out already, so that will indicate that there is a safety car. I don't know what happened here. It looked like Andrew Anderson got caught up with someone on the inside of Andrew Anderson. He ran out of room. He got involved in Kane.
Cars are slowing
around, and then, of course, what do you do when there's a car in front of you? You've got nowhere to go.
There's the safety car board. That is predictable because there's a fair amount to clean up down there at turn. Clean up in aisle 9.
Exactly,
Not for the first time this weekend. So the safety car is out. The final race of the weekend.
Geez, that's John Hepburn's car. That's got a fair bit of damage on the front.
Yeah, I think he just got the tail end of it with nowhere to go, and it's just blown that front splitter apart on his Holden Commodore.
Well, good thing is under safety. Here we go. Okay, we get a better shot. Okay, here's Kane Scott in the red and black car right in the middle. Andrew Anderson on the inside. Everybody hitting the curves. Nothing really in that.
Well, it looked like Clark Proctor possibly going up the inside of Scott.
Here we go.
With Henderson, so it's further up from here. What does Henderson have to do to avoid it? Just run straight up the back of John Penny.
Yeah, look, he's been involved in that situation before. Of course, United Video car in race 1, so thank God the bonnet hasn't popped up this time.
John McIntyre climbing off the curbs now. This will be a better angle.
Okay, Andrew Anderson come across, hit the front of Clark Proctor's car. That launched him into Kane. Rest unfolds as we see it.
Back end of Henshaw's car got picked up with that clash from Dale Williams. Here's the overhead shot. So Proctor down the inside. Yeah, you're right there, Mark. Just a little bit of a squeeze from Andy Anderson. And Williams just plows into the back of the Easy Buy Car Auctions Ford Falcon. So drama here at the beginning of the third and final race of the BNTV8 as Kane Scott limps back around. Race action will continue here from Hamilton. The third and final race of the weekend for the BNTV8s and the ITM 400. Well, it's been a rough and tumble start to race 3 for the BNTV8s from Hamilton. Back off the restart, Johnny Mack leads them down into turn number 1. Andy Knight slots into 2nd. Anderson in 3rd, Eddie Bell 4th. Nick Ross in 5th. Clark Proctor in the 6th position. Dean Perkins making a pass up the inside. Good to see Boothie back after his dramas in race number 2, Mark.
Yeah, look, a bit of an engine failure there for Andy, but he's having a good battle with his old teammate. And, of course, the man that's changed from Holden to Ford now, Paul Manuel. But I can't help but think this race had a little bit taken away with Kane Scott taken out of the race because we knew he had the car speed to get to Johnny McIntyre. So does Angus Fogg. Unfortunately, Angus is the back of the pack right there, so he's got a bit of work to do to get there.
So this grid was lined up based on the results of races 1 and 2 for the weekend, and based on points, the highest points to the front. And that's where Johnny McIntyre started for this race. So they rocked through the chicane on lap 4 of 16 off the restart. A huge first turn clash that claimed Dale Williams. Andy Anderson running wide there out of line red, turn number 5.
Oh, Eddie Bell's got a flyer on here, but I don't think he can do much with it because Andrew just come across and defended that line. And of course, as we know through this part here, it's going to be pretty much stalemate unless it's a real desperate manoeuvre.
So from the first 2 races of the weekend, race 1, the top 4, Johnny Mack, Kane Scott, Andy Knight, and Andy Anderson. For race 2, it was Johnny Mack from Kane Scott, Eddie Bell and Andy Knight. There was just a couple of hundredths of a second on the line between Eddie Bell and Andy Knight at the end of that one. Clark Proctor sideways out of the final corner.
You can just see how conservative these guys are because they're nowhere near that wall. We saw Johnny McIntyre and Andy Knight come through and they were just about kissing the wall. The rest of the guys, you know, want a car length off. That's not going to make good car speed.
Longest race of the weekend as Angus Fogg cops a shot there from Paul Manuel. They managed to get away with it. Andy Booth's in the midst of that as well.
John Penny's car there, probably blown a little bit of smoke. I think there might be more guard damage than anything else. But look, haven't these guys been battling like this all championship long? Here we are a little bit further down the track on a street race. Nothing's changed.
Oh, Fogg again sideways. He's really living dangerously at the moment in the LG Falcon. Coming off, of course, winning the battle for the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup over the weekend. Some scintillating racing between himself and young William Bamber.
We have to say, didn't we make commentary in that he kept throwing those Suzuki Swifts in sideways? No different, is it? Bigger car, same style.
He's carrying on with it. There's one of the debris flags down into one. There's probably a fair bit of junk. Oh, John Hepburn, he's gone off, and that might be the end of his race unless he can do the 3-point turn. That might have been a brake issue more than anything.
He's gone that far into the safety zone that he would be a 3-point turn from that point, that's for sure.
Pick and Save's not too far away down the road from there. Maybe he's, that's it. I'm going down to grab a 6-pack of Cokes.
Well, we did call clean up on aisle number 9. Maybe he's gone that one step further.
There's Clark Proctor. He's had a busy weekend in the VIP Pet Foods Falcon. Dean Perkins just in behind him, and Dean running the 1NZ, the winner of the championship, the car driven by Craig Beard. And hot off the press, talking to Mike Morton before this race, Craig Beard qualified second in China for the Asian Carrera Cup round and finished 4th in the first race and 3rd in race number 2. So a good opening to his campaign up in the Asian Carrera Cup Championship. Yeah, he was saying that it's a whole new circuit to him, and normally Craig learns circuits very quickly, but he said this is just such a technical track, new cars and everything, so we'll expect him to come on strength in that championship as well. And there's some pretty strong drivers up there in that championship as well, so we hope that all the best for Craig in that one. Of course, Matt Halliday contesting the Porsche Super Cup in Europe as support to the Formula Ones. Clark Proctor still got the attention here of Dean Perkins. Perkins must have enjoyed this weekend. Did cop a little bit of damage from race number 1 in the United Video number 1 Falcon.
He was saying he actually got hit that hard that for whatever reason the throttle pedal dislodged itself, and if he put the pedal down too far, it actually jammed on full throttle, and what he had to do was turn the car off, reset everything so it didn't jam. So he was just happy to finish that race. But of course, there's lots of stories like that all the way through the field.
That's hard enough to do on a normal motor racing circuit. How do you contend with that around a street circuit?
Well, that's why he dropped so far back. So, he just wanted to get the race finished. And like we said earlier in the broadcast, this is the first time he's been over 70k in the whole 12-month period. Yeah,
Dean Perkins of Vanuatu. He's got a tyre business and does all sorts of work over there in Vanuatu. He's got a steady stream of visitors visiting him over there in the islands from this part of the world as well. So he's battling there with Clark Proctor for position. Clark Proctor in the Richards Toyota VIP Pet Foods Ford Falcon.
Clark Proctor loves this circuit. I remember when we were all racing here a couple of years ago, it was the first time he's been in one of these cars, and he just stepped up. He was in the top 10, but when he got out of the car after the first session, he was smiling like Donny Osmond. You could see nothing but ivory from him. And that confidence just grows year after year. You see a bit of a smoke just from a pinch brake, nothing in that at all. But this battle between Angus and Andy, you just can't help but think something interesting is going to happen, can you?
Well, Boothie and Foggy, they are two of the more spectacular drivers in the NZV8 Championship over many, many years. Of course, Boothie, former 2-time champion in the class in the Big Ben Pies Commodore. So this battle is for 8th and 9th between Boothie and Foggy.
A guy that's got a lot of car speed to burn is that black car behind it, the Chesters. Timmy Edgell qualified on pole, done a fantastic job. Unfortunately, had a few issues along the way. So he's another young man that's come off a very high second part of the championship. And in the background, Paul Manuel going into the pits.
Going into the pits, and there was some smoke trailing from the back of the Oryx Ford. Yeah, Tim Edgell had a caliper failure as Fogg goes down the inside of Booth. That should be a pretty clean pass for position.
I've got a funny feeling this ain't over.
No, I don't think it will be either. Tim Edgell, though, out of that first race, did set a new track record for the NZV8s here in Hamilton at a 1:31.9669. And Johnny Mack was only 2/100ths slower in race number 2 with the victory for the Protector Safety Ford. So Fogg on the move up into the 8th position. John McIntyre leading out front. Fogg looking to squeeze his way up the inside of Dean Perkins on the run down to the chicane. As Clark Proctor got a fair bit of both sides of the chicane tyre stacks.
Can't help but think Dean is just holding these guys up at the moment, which is going to make interesting racing because it's allowed Timmy Edgell to get right on this back. And we know Andy Booth, he just doesn't know the word give up at all. Once something gets past him, it's like red rag to a bull. But then throw Timmy Edgell into this as well, anything is going to happen.
Foggy's going to pick up the inside run here on Perkins. Booth's going to look to take advantage of that as well, as Perkins got sideways. Holds on to the spot. But Tim Edgell lying in wait back there in the Chester's Ford.